Aston Martin's recent decisions seem to emphasize their commitment to Lance Stroll, strengthening the feeling that the team has become deeply tied to his presence since his father, Lawrence Stroll, took charge. This could have serious implications for Max Verstappen's future, as it appears the door for a switch to any other team outside of Red Bull is slowly closing. With Fernando Alonso's recent remarks, it seems Aston Martin is feeling confident in their plans. But could this mean trouble for Verstappen down the line? As things stand, Aston Martin isn't exactly a major force in F1. Their current 2025 campaign sees them sitting with only 10 points. However, the team has made it clear that they are already looking towards the 2026 season. The focus is on the future, with team leader Adrian Newey reportedly uninterested in improving the current AMR 25. Alonso's comments on the situation reflect this shift, suggesting that Aston Martin's current position should be expected, but that this isn't their long-term future. Aston Martin has issued a strong statement confirming they are not parting ways with Lance Stroll, a statement that might sound odd to some, but was somewhat anticipated. Stroll, despite his limited success, is still seen as a valuable part of the team. However, with just a couple of points from races in China and Melbourne, the Silverstone-based team has failed to make a significant mark in the championship so far. Sticking with Stroll could be a risky strategy for the future, especially with the upcoming 2026 season offering a chance for Aston Martin to truly step up. Looking ahead to 2026, Aston Martin is gearing up for a fresh start. With a stronger workforce and the backing of Honda as their engine supplier, they're aiming to become a serious contender. This presents a huge challenge for the team if they don't start delivering results soon. Honda, for one, has made it clear that they expect strong performances. The company's president, C.J. Watton, has even stated that their involvement with Aston Martin's driver lineup will follow the same approach as Red Bull's, meaning Honda will have a say in who drives for the team. While the team has the final word, Honda's influence could be significant, especially if the engine proves to be a game-changer. The situation becomes even more complicated when you consider the relationship between Aston Martin's technical chief, Adrian Newey, and team owner Lawrence Stroll. Newey is focused entirely on the 2026 car, and this decision hasn't gone down well with Stroll, especially given Newey's hefty salary. There are rumors that the tension between them is growing, as Stroll expects more involvement from Newey in improving the current car. Former F1 driver Robert Dornbos commented on this, saying that Stroll's frustration is evident, and there's talk that Newey is distancing himself from any further work on the 2025 model. This situation could create further pressure, and Newey may feel he's in a difficult spot, especially after being paid a significant sum to help turn Aston Martin into a championship-winning team. The dynamic at Aston Martin is also strained when considering Lance Stroll's role. He may not be meeting the expectations of Honda or the team, which only adds to the pressure. This situation is further complicated by reports that Newey and Stroll's relationship isn't exactly smooth, with technical decisions sometimes being a point of contention. Despite all this, Aston Martin has committed to Stroll for the time being, even though this decision could hinder their plans to build a truly competitive car. If Aston Martin continues to rely heavily on Stroll, it might limit their ability to move forward with a stronger driver lineup, something they'll need if they hope to be a major force in 2026. 2026 is shaping up to be a critical year for Aston Martin, but much of their success will depend on whether they can establish a competitive car and driver lineup. If they fail to deliver, they may face growing pressure from their engine partner, Honda, who has shown a keen interest in influencing the team's direction. Honda's approach to the driver lineup will likely mirror Red Bull's, where they'll push for high-level performance. Lance Stroll's place on the team could be jeopardized if the results aren't up to expectations, especially if Honda insists on a more competitive pairing to support their engine development. This could open the door for a potential driver switch, with Verstappen's name coming up in discussions as a possible candidate to replace Stroll if the team moves in that direction. The idea of Max Verstappen joining Aston Martin isn't as far-fetched as it might seem, especially if Fernando Alonso continues with the team beyond 2026. Alonso, who had originally planned to retire after 2026, has since expressed uncertainty about his future, stating that he will evaluate his motivations season by season. This leaves a window of opportunity for a potential lineup change, and if Alonso decides to retire earlier, Aston Martin could make a play for Verstappen. This would not only bolster their driver lineup, but also send a strong message to their competitors that they are serious about becoming a top team in Formula One. If Verstappen were to join Aston Martin, it would mark a major shift in the Formula One landscape. Given his undeniable talent and competitive drive, he would bring an immediate boost to the team. However, such a move would depend on a lot of factors, including Alonso's future and whether Aston Martin can deliver the car to match Verstappen's skill. With Honda's involvement and the technical support from figures like Newey, Aston Martin could potentially create a powerhouse combination that would challenge the likes of Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes. But it's also worth considering how Verstappen would fit into the team dynamic, especially with Stroll still in the picture. Ultimately, the decision to stick with Lance Stroll or pursue a driver like Max Verstappen could define Aston Martin's future in Formula One. With the 2026 season on the horizon, the team has a crucial opportunity to solidify its place among the top contenders. But the path they choose could have long-lasting effects, not only for their success, but also for the relationships within the team. If they manage to make the right choices, Aston Martin could become a serious threat to the established powerhouses of the sport. However, if they continue down the current road, it might be a tough battle to remain relevant in the coming years. What do you think? Will Aston Martin's commitment to Lance Stroll pay off, or will they regret not pursuing a more competitive lineup? Let us know in the comments below.